Welcome to Unleashing Potential. Today I've got a very, very special guest, none other than Lauren Vermaak. Lauren, help the people understand who is Lauren Vermaak.
Thank you. So, Lauren Vermaak, I am the owner of SyncFlo Creative. We are a strategic marketing agency that works with growth-minded business owners and their businesses. So, we assist you to get clarity with your brand. We're not just about content, we're about getting that message across from the various platforms that you use. We want to make sure that what you're communicating on your social media, your website, or even at networking events or your brochures is consistent, and consistency is key.
Well, I've loved your name, SyncFlo Creative, because obviously, what are you synchronizing? Whose flow are you managing? And while you're being creative, am I right in understanding that?
Definitely, definitely. So it's about, just bringing everything together. We want to make sure that, we're synchronizing your brand and we're amplifying your story with regards to your business.
Absolutely. Because the thing is, if we're honest about it, I think the one area where businesses battle today is that they don't know how to brand themselves, they don't know how to market themselves, and it's sort of a hit and a miss. And by virtue of the product demand, people start purchasing from them, start frequenting, visiting their stores. But it's that presence. You need to create that presence, and that's why people like you come to the party in terms of saying, "Let me help you synchronize your brand. Let me help you amplify your story." So, what is your approach? What do you do?
So, we just identify first with the businesses, the teams, the owners, managers, etc., who are their ideal target market. So, the idea is to first know exactly who you're wanting by knowing what you don't want. So, for example, if you think about it, if you go to a restaurant and you're looking to order something, you first deselect what you don't want. I don't feel like something with garlic. I don't like tomatoes. I feel like a steak with mushroom sauce. So that's ideally what we do is we narrow it down because you don't want to almost use a strategy where you sending out content, a message that is to everybody and you're attracting the wrong target market. So that's where SyncFlo comes in. We're very strategic about putting in a strategy to make sure that you've got the right people that are contacting you, while also ensuring that you are not having it that your message is deselecting the people that you're wanting to speak to. So, for example, if I had to say, we deal with content, you would definitely, some people would deselect themselves and say, oh, well, we don't want content marketing. We're not interested in the social media side. So that's where you see you've got to be very specific about what you're communicating. And that's what we focus on. We make sure that the message we're putting out there is, for example, we do marketing, strategic marketing. So it be from your brochures, your website, your content, your social media, sitting at a bar and communicating. And I think that that's one big question that I always ask is that, how confident are you that somebody is able to communicate what your business does? Because if you are not confident in that, that means that your message is not clear. You don't have clarity.
I must say, if I speak along with you, the understanding that of the menu, it is true. You sit in a restaurant and you need to decide: are you going to go for a starter? Are you going to have a main meal? And are you going to have dessert? And I think with you helping and aligning a client, it's, do you really want the entire menu or the spectrum to who you want to communicate to? But most people actually don't understand their real target market. I mean, if you spend time and say, who's your customer? They go like, any customer buys. Well, that's not good enough. So when a client gives you that answer, how would you guide them to break it down in terms of getting to a acceptable answer? What would you do?
I would say to them, from the client base that you've got right now, um, who who is the most easiest that you enjoy working with? Who was the most easiest to close the sale with? Um, I mean, we don't want to completely shut off other people doing business. I mean, if I had to say, my ideal target market is growth-minded business owners, it means that the people are open to exploring further, maybe dealing with change, and it is uncomfortable, but they're willing to take that step. But my message is that I want to still attract people, and even if it is somebody that is not ideally my target market, they'll still do business with me, but they're just not the people that I want. So we go through listing what is it, what age group are they, what demographics, where are they based, are they international, is it local, is it female, is it male, who is it? And that's where then once we know what who they are, you'll find that your message that you're putting out there will be speaking to them, because once you've got that clarity, you communicate in that way. And yes, you will get leads that might not fit into that exact demographic. And that is great because that's over and above what you're working with.
Well, if you work with a client that basically has an existing customer base, let's say a small area distribution, and you ask them the questions: Are you working locally? Are you working provincially? Are you working nationally? Or working globally? And the person says, "No, I'm only working in my area, but I know I've got bigger capacity." And you then say, "Well, how are you communicating that you actually have got products for sale?" Now, I just tell my friends, okay, word of referral, word of marketing, word of mouth is powerful, but it can go beyond. And the person says, do you have a website? What's a website? And I think that's what
Yeah.
people don't realize. You need a footprint in the market. So would you, as SyncFlo Creative, actually help with the design of the website itself, or would you farm that out?
We can. We've got, I've built websites. I'm happy to build websites. I do have connections where that are more behind the scenes, coding. If there's something very specific and unique about that industry, that is not my strength. So that's the thing is I have resources on top of that. But, when you say website, that's one thing that I just really want to touch on is that people believe that because I've got a website, I'm out there. But your website can be fantastic, but if it doesn't have a point of touch and it doesn't lead the person to the next part of the website page or what the next process is, it's pretty useless. So it takes about 8 touches to get somebody to do business with you to
Wow.
complete the sale. So you need to know what direction you're actually going to lead them and how you're going to hold their hand. But yes.
I must say that for me, it's just, it realizes that what you do is you bring focus. You certainly bring focus to the client in terms
Yes.
of getting them to engage. Now, in terms of that focus, I know when you and I spoke over a cup of coffee, you spoke about the three key areas that you look at: strategic planning, content and design, and platform alignment. So, if you don't mind, let's take them one by one. I'd like this to be a value add to the guest listening and saying, help me understand how. So, strategic planning, what is that about?
So that's your brand message, your story alignment, website structure. You want to make sure that you want to plan that if somebody is going to go on, for example, your social media, what is the next step? Where are you leading them to? Is it to a database where they're going to get a newsletter? Is it going to be through to your website? Is it a contact form? What form of action are they going to take? And that's what we're going to plan is that that's the strategic plan. Where to from there? And you need to have that in process. So it's almost, if you think about it, it's your sales funnel. What are the touches that you need to do and what information do you need to give to them? You're speaking to various people, and I'm sure that you would agree. You've got your kinesthetic, you've got your audio, you've got your visual, and then you've got your fourth, which is your thinker. So you've got to know what are you communicating and how are you communicating, and you need to touch all of those aspects because for me, it might be, forms of information, but for you, Anthony, it could be visual. You like to see the process.
Yeah.
Then you've got the kinesthetics of the feeling. What emotion does it get? So that's the strategic plan. What are you putting in place? So
Now,
then,
now
if you've got content design, yes.
part of that
Sorry.
planning, of course, will then entail, of course, we're used to having a desktop. You sit at your desk like we work in our desk now, but there is this merging into everybody starting to use their mobile phones as they call it mini
Yes.
office computer. So, in terms of this branding strategy that you have, as part of this strategy, would you immediately synchronize those two as part of the solution that you offer?
Definitely. I mean, everything, people hand out business cards, but then you also get the digital business card. So you want to align everything. You want to make sure that everything that you've either got, is it print, but then you've also got, the actual, um, the digital copy. So that's where it's aligning it. It's aligning to people work over WhatsApp now. It used to be phone calls and face-to-face meetings. Now it's Zoom. Now it's WhatsApp.
I
So
actually think
you've got to make sure that you've got everything in place.
I actually think we've lost a sense of
So
that
definitely.
true connection because WhatsApp has become so easy. Just, but the thing is, what it's done, it's changed the time zone. We used to be able to send an
Mm.
email and expect in 24 hours I'll hear from the client. But with WhatsApp, they make you hop. Within 5 minutes, if you didn't answer, you maybe just lose it to the next client. So I think communication has changed to the extent that we have had to adapt to realize that people are far more interactive, far more engaging communication wise, and we need to be on top of systems like WhatsApp, receiving messages, whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram. Those are all different media, of course. And I think that links in with your second point, which is content and design. How do you approach your content and design from that perspective?
Definitely. So one thing that I always say is, pretty doesn't grow businesses, strategy does. So that's where your content and design comes in. There's no point of putting out pretty posts or, putting nice images, etc., if there's no actual strategy behind it. There needs to be a call to action. There needs to be some form of drive to get them to take the next step. And that's what your content will be about. It will spread across your social medias. It can be ebooks, it can be downloadable information. It's what is that content and how is it going to perform for you, because there's no point of putting stuff out if it doesn't get results,
Now,
because then it's vanity.
when you work with a new client, do you automatically think beyond to the CRM, or do you just start them off with the basics? How does that work as part of that design?
So yeah. So what we do is we identify what is in place. It's what's working, what's not working that they currently are doing. We work with what is working. That's got traction already, and we work to just improve on that, grow it, and strengthen it, and then we'll move on to the next. It's also about identifying what is the right content or design or platforms to be using. For me, social media and that and is the right platform, but for somebody that say does industrial paints, that is not where their target market is playing. It would be more LinkedIn, or is it their website? Is it Google Analytics, doing Google Ads? So that is also where it's identifying, because there's no point in putting your time and effort into the wrong areas. So that's also part of the strategic planning along with the content design. What are you putting out there, and is it the right? Because various industries have various ways of communicating and what they should put in place.
Well, that reaches where it needs to fall. And now, what about platform alignment? So, what do we do there? Now we've got the strategy going, you've got the design, but now you want to do alignment. What are the kind of questions, kind of considerations that you would have to align that client for their potential target market?
Definitely. So you want to make sure that everything across the various platforms communicates the same message. So if I land on your LinkedIn page and then I go through to your website, or I go through to your social media, there's the same message that's coming across. And that is so important, because what I've found through interacting with business owners over the decades that I've been in the previous industry that I was in, there was always just this challenge that they provided a service or a product and they'd have a really strong client base, but then they'd find down the line a client was contacted another company to do a service or provide a product, and that owner offered the same services, but their clients were none the wiser because they thought that they only offered one thing. So it's that communication and keeping the consistency, that people are aware of what you do, what you offer, and they don't have that confusion. So there's no break. If you had to think of a spider web, they're all interlinked and they need to communicate with each other.
Okay, now obviously, do you have like a cookie cutter principle that one size fits all, or is your approach different to that?
There is a cookie cutter per se. I mean, every business they're all different. I mean, you can be in the same industry, but you have a different direction that you're wanting to go. There could be a specific focus that you have. So there's a foundation, but
Hmm.
then from there we work on it. We do custom also, because what one industry, one business owner could want, another same industry business owner could want or need something else. So it's really about finding what that unique need is and working from it. Also, you find that you believe that you need your website needs work on,
Yeah.
and you start on that, and then you end up actually it comes that your social media or your brochures or other aspects need to. So it's really about just understanding, getting clarity, and then working from there.
Well, you're talking about brochures. I mean, I remember the old days where we used to print pamphlets and stand in the street corners and hand out. But I think that of in itself, it's sort of dissipating and it's disappearing. Uh, from a
Yeah.
security perspective, it's just less and less that you actually see people go that route because there's more powerful ways to reach your clients. So talk about clients. Who's your ideal client? Who do you prefer serving first if you had the choice? First, A, B, C. Just give me three categories of people that you like to work with. So those listening in can say, that's me. We're listening. Who are they?
So my A clients would definitely be established business owners. They have an existing client base. They've got a website in place. They've got content in place, be it brochures. They've got a sales process in place. So they're established. They know what direction they're going on. It just needs a few tweaks. It just needs a little bit more clarity as an alignment. Your car needs alignment. You might be slightly off in direction. Might be clients are, business owners that have been going for about 3 to 5 years. They have things in place. They're looking to grow, put more in place, build on what they've got. But and I'm happy to also then work with startups.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't just have a set program. There's also one sort. If I can leave some form of legacy, as odd as it might sound, but if I can just make one little imprint in someone that they took a tip or tool from a blog that they read of mine, or they saw some form of content or education that I put on my website or my social media, and they implemented that, I'm winning, because I wanted that I'm also educating along with providing a service.
Well, I must be honest. The reason why you're on this challenge and this call today is because of your one liner. It's not about being pretty, it has to be with strategy. Just repeat that statement. I just remember
Yes.
that really drew me in. Say that again.
Yes. So pretty does not grow businesses, strategies do.
Oh, I love it. Being a co-strategist, I mean, now you're speaking the language. Because the thing is, a hit and a run, it's like throwing mud on the wall and hope it sticks. But, that is
Definitely.
really not hope is not a strategy. So essentially, you want to take people and guide them step by step, but obviously custom make it to their needs. And that's what I heard you say is that, yes, there's certain aspects that seems to be cookie cutter because those are the basics or the foundation that you lay. But I heard you very clearly is to interact and interlude with you and the client to say, what are your needs? Well, what is your target market? What is your niche market? And literally take it there. But I find businesses today do not have a brand strategy. With marketing,
Hmm.
they don't have a brand strategy so that their brand basically starts marketing them. I think there's a great weakness. I mean, we see the greats, we see the Coca-Colas that have done a fantastic job. We know the McDonald's, etc., uh, the Kentuckies, but the normal businessman, they've got a problem with brand strategy. So how do you merge through SyncFlo Creative that branding side and the marketing side? Talk to me.
Definitely. Well, I found out what is their vision.
Hmm.
What do they see their business doing, and where do they see it going? And that is where then SyncFlo comes in, and I work with them. So let's see, what do you need as your road, your direction, your map? And that's where I provide those tools for them to be able to reach that. And yes, the journey might change ever so slightly. I mean, I just have to say, when you say ideal clients, I find that business owners that have got a mentor, a business coach, or a business consultant, they know what direction they're heading in. It's a faster process than those that aren't too sure. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's just as long as you have a direction, that you have a vision on where you want to be. And that is where then I work with you of what do you need in place. Because that's why I created SyncFlo, is because I saw that there were so many business owners out there with a vision, but they just didn't have clarity on how to get that across.
Well, I'd like to just encourage those listening in. I myself am a coach. I see people in terms of business coaching, making the business more profitable. However, I don't strive to be the solution for everything. Because yes, I can increase your profitability, but I believe we need to partner with people like you or JV joint venture to say, yes, a specialist when it comes to marketing. Speak to SyncFlo Creative because they can help you think out of the box. You've been doing things this way, but what if there's a wider spectrum? It's like opening a deck of cards. And then say, right, let's go beyond. It's not just one card out there. And I really believe, and I want to encourage other business leaders and coaches, don't try and be the solution for everything because you cannot. Because yes, there's a generic approach, but there's still a specialist arena. Now, I believe marketing is a specialist arena. In fact, many people think that sales is marketing. Mm-mm. Those are two different things.
No.
Sales stimulates the top line. Yes, it looks after the bottom line, but it's the marketing that actually becomes, can I say, the mega loud hailer for your sale. Because if your marketing strategy is creative and really is innovative, it will take you places. Now, how far would you go? Because people will say, how far is a piece of string in terms of how much money do people need to spend on marketing as a percentage of their business? I'm not talking established business. I'm talking your A client. If you had to say
Yes.
you need to have a budget for it, how much would you reckon that a great company will do to do that?
It really decides, it depends, like you say, how long is a piece of string? I would say you need to allocate at least, I mean, if you're a very big business, you've got the funds in that, you're looking at about 30 to 50,000. It's really about where are you putting that money behind. So, there's examples of like if you had to look at your big
Mm-hmm.
retail stores, they would put a lot of funding with regards to paid ads because they would be pushing in brochures, they're pushing their specials, promos, etc. Where then you've got other businesses that would be putting it into radio ads. So it's really about understanding what platform you should be going into and where your target market is, and then you are able to identify what funds you need to be putting behind it. But saying that, don't people mustn't be deterred and think, oh, well, you see, marketing is too expensive. I can't afford it. Because you can also do organic marketing. I mean, it's all about identifying where your target market might be. And is it on a social media group that you share it on? Is it a WhatsApp group? Is it through a networking group? I mean, for example, we met each other at the Hirsch's networking group. I mean, that's a free platform. So as long as you know your message and you know what your aim is at the end of it, what you're wanting to get out of it, you
Mm-hmm.
can do free marketing. You can do it for free. Yes, there's a little bit of money that you put into, say, for example, printing a brochure or, getting your website up and going, but it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be that you literally are drying out your bank account because you're
Okay.
putting it all behind marketing. And the thing is also you want to make sure that you have a return on investment. There's no point of putting money behind something and you don't get a return on investment.
Now, the one thing that drew me to wanting to join venture with you is your diagnostic approach. And I'm going to actually share with the people. This is a few questions that you will get asked by SyncFlo. The one is, why isn't your current content converting? Explain to us what that will do if people find out the magic of how to do that.
Well, when I say converting, I don't mean that you're definitely getting sales. It's converting as in what is your content actually aim to do? Is it that you're wanting to grow your database that then you can use your CRM to communicate with your database to update them on specials or promotions that you're doing or new products that you're launching? Is it that you're wanting to get them to get more followers onto your Facebook page or social medias? Or are you wanting them to actually pick up the phone and take action? Or is it a free audit that you're wanting them to do so you can get leads? So that's the question is your, when I say is your content converting, is it getting you the end result that you're wanting from it? Is it getting that return on investment? And when I say return on investment, I don't just mean money. I mean the time, the effort that you put into putting that out there.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more frustrating than you've sat and put in so much time and effort into it and there's nothing that from it.
And then you get your new business said, we're launching, but we're not sure how to plan or structure it. Would you basically come up and say, introduce them to a system like Trello or something just to start managing or mini project manage what they have in their minds? How would you approach that?
Definitely. I mean, they need to know. I mean, you've got that idea that you're launching a business, and that's great. And say you do get this influx of leads and stuff. But if you don't have direction on what the process is that you're going to take them through or how you're going to manage that, I definitely do suggest that I will help them to find the right CRM. I help them to find the right hosting domain for their website. Is it a free domain? Is it paid? It's what they're needing. So that's really about, I will guide them in the way of what should they be doing first. Because yes, launching a business is a time consuming thing and you do need to put in the time, but you also need to get the momentum going. You need to get the money in also. So it's what direction are you going to go in first? Should you get your social media going? Should you get out and do networking? Should you be handing out brochures? Should you be, what is it? So that is the idea of how are you going to go about this, but it's very unique to every industry or business and what direction they should go with. But yes,
Now, I believe that
strategy.
results follow vision. Now, when you get to a
Mm.
company and there's a lack of vision, would you actually then spend a time and say, well, let's clarify that vision? Because some people have a vision that is 40 words long, and you ask people what's the vision, and like they can't even recite it. Would you help in just
Yes,
crystallizing that down to can I say, palatable size?
definitely. I mean, it's very clear you don't want to have information overload. So yes, you find that companies or businesses, they have this vision that, like you say, is 40 lines long. It's pages and pages. And if you ask them to recite, you've lost the person within 5 minutes or 10 seconds of even explaining it. So yes, it's about just bringing it down to a more palatable size. How can you communicate it in 30 seconds
Now, for the
that
person
it's clear?
listening in today and they actually would like to get hold of you, can you just tell me where can they get hold of you? What is the contact details?
Perfect. So you can pop me an email. It's info@SyncFlo Creative, but it's flow, FLO, no W with it, creative.com. Otherwise, you can go to my website and you can do a free brand alignment check-in, which is a 3-minute audit, which just gives you some insights. And from there, see if they resonate with each other and, we can have a chat. I'm always open to coffee, meets and greets, networking. I'm a very approachable person. So yeah, you can contact me there or yeah, check on my social media. I'm always out and about.
Well, there you have it. This is Lauren from Mark, and she certainly is very focused in terms of synchronizing other people's efforts, bringing flow, and helping them to remain creative in doing so. So I'm going to repeat it: synchronize your brand, amplify your story, and if you would like to do that, Lauren from Mark is your person, and I will have the details at the bottom. Click on the bottom, link with Lauren, and make sure that you, with her, go next level. Because you know what? It's all about unleashing your full potential. I'm your host. I'm Doc Ant. It's been my pleasure to speak to you today, Lauren. And may you flow while you synchronize in your creation to help people be the best version of themselves. Take care.
Thanks.